So, what up, guys? I'm here with my Superman review, and I will be spoiling the movie and what happened. I'm not going to go too in depth in what happened in the entire movie, but I will be talking about some parts in the movie that what happened, so I can explain a little bit better on my feelings on this movie. Now, this movie for me personally, when I was seeing a lot of the reviews about it and a lot of people talking about it, there was a lot of political discourse about it. There was, like, certain people that were more conservative, and Republican that were kind of hating on this movie and bashing on it. Some people were saying that this is the worst movie ever, this was a terrible superhero movie, and all these other ridiculous claims. And then there's the other side that was more liberal, saying that this movie is amazing, it's great, it has a great message. I like the deeper meanings behind it because there were, kind of two political messages. They weren't main, like, big political messages that were completely shoved in our face, but they were implemented in the story and they were talked about before. At least one of them was, and that was Superman being an immigrant. And a lot of people got mad about this, especially in Fox News. They were getting butthurt about it, saying he's an immigrant, this and that. Stop shoving your political opinions in our faces and all this shit. But it's like, that is true. He is an immigrant. What the fuck do you think he is? He literally came from outer space. Just because he's a white guy doesn't mean that he's from Earth or America. He literally came from outer space. So they got butthurt about that. But then there was another political thing that happened in the movie, which I will also talk about later on. But yeah, I feel like there's been a big political divide when it comes to this movie. There's conservatives and Republicans that have been kind of hating on it. For whatever reason, for the political messaging, or maybe most of them were Snyder fans. A lot of them love Zack Snyder's, Man of Steel and all this other shit. And a lot of the people that did love it were more so, a liberal, more so democratic, and more so, James Gunn fans in general. So there's an argument between Snyder fans and James Gunn fans, and then Republicans and Democrats, or like Democratic voters, right? So it got a lot of political, vibes or attention to it. But the movie mostly wasn't that political itself. It was more just supposed to be a heartfelt story, and it was supposed to show you how good of a person Superman is and how hopeful he is, and a more positive attitude on him, and then trying to showcase what makes Superman who he is. And I thought that was pretty interesting. Now, the movie for me personally, I did enjoy it. I thought it was pretty decent. I don't think it was the greatest movie. I don't think it was an amazing movie. I do think it was decent. But personally for me, I felt like it was a little bit more mid than it was like great. It wasn't like unbelievably great, but it wasn't bad either. A lot of these people that are saying this is the worst superhero movie are complete butthurt retards. I feel like they're Zack Snyder dick riders, and they go to such stupid lengths that they start saying that this is trash or this and that. And then the other people that were saying it was because one of the big political messaging that a lot of liberals have been pointing out was the whole talk about, Palestine versus Israel and stuff like that. And they were obviously more on Palestine's side against Israel and Netanyahu and all that shit. And that got very political. So I feel like a lot of them, when they're saying that it's a terrible movie, they're not legit meaning that it's that bad. I think they just got butthurt about the fact that they're calling out Israel, and there's a lot of Zionists out there. So it was more of a political thing. For me personally, I do care about politics, but on this channel, I don't talk about politics, and I don't let politics skew my view on movies and TV shows. Obviously, if stuff are too woke and too cringe, it's usually badly written, so I don't really like it. But just because something is more woke or more politically, liberal does not mean I'm going to hate it. And I personally don't care about this whole argument about the politics when it comes to movies, because I feel like bringing in politics into movies, especially in modern day, has really ruined movies and shows. And not in the sense of being put into the stories, but in the sense of the divide and the argument. Because now, usually when you see a movie coming out, usually the people are more focused and fixated on, is it liberal or is it conservative? Is it a political? And then so they can use it for the political argument, saying, well, this was all girl boss, so it's very feminist. And then there's some that say, oh, this was great because it was showing American pride and it was all supporting, patriotism and all this shit. And I'm just like, bro, get the fuck out of here. Can you get your bullshit politics all out here, both sides? Can you both fuck off? We're just trying to enjoy a fun movie. We're not trying to see your review where you get butt hurt because it was on one political spectrum compared to the other, or calling out one side or the other side, or supporting one side over the other side. I am tired of that, where people, instead of giving you legit criticisms on these stuff and giving you legit arguments, instead of them giving their actual opinion opinions, they just get butthurt off of political shit and then make it into a political, spectrum, and then they try to argue off of that. They think of it's not on their political side that it's automatically bad, and for me that's just dumb. Like a lot of the woke stuff I don't like, but just because a movie or a show is woke does not make me hate it. This movie had it wasn't overly woke, which also I don't agree with that with this movie, but we do see that happening sometimes. And I've seen movies that were more woke and have never had a problem with them because at the end of the day, what really matters to me is the story well written? Is it enjoyable? Is the characters fun? Do they have good character development? Does it have good world building? Am I interested by the story and the people and the world itself? That's all that matters. So I feel like a lot of people want to make these movie reviews and shows and critiques and all this stuff, and they're not being legit reviewing it and being actual critics. They're just kissing ass and playing sides and bitching about politics. So to both of them, I would say go fuck yourself. Stop talking about movies. Stop talking about shows. And you guys have ruined it. And you guys are not legit. And people should listen to reviews. They should listen to people that are more, non-biased, non-overly political, and more impartial to these whole takes. Because I feel like a lot of these people are just trying to argue for their own political side, and it's kind of lame. Most people who are overly obsessed with like stuff like religion or politics are usually fucking losers and should be bullied aggressively. But going into the movie was actually pretty decent. Um, Lex Luthor, I like his rage, and a lot of people point out that they liked how much he hated Superman and shit. And Superman even pointed out the fact that you just hate me because you're jealous, and it's not out of protecting the Earth; it's out of envy. And he even himself stated, "Yeah, obviously, I fucking hate you because I'm envious of you. I That's the only reason that it keeps me going. It pushes me because I hate you." Also, this universe is already set ahead. Whereas, other stories, they show you development getting into the story and starting the universe. This universe has already started. Superman has been Superman for a while. Lex Luthor has been Lex Luthor for a while. They've had battles back and forth. There's other heroes and stuff like that. So it's already been established, even though this is the first movie, but their world is already established. They're not building up to it. They already have it, and they're just going to show you the rest of the world and then build off of that. So it starts off with Superman getting launched into, the Arctic. He's getting beaten down, and he has Colin Crypto to help him to get him out of there. And then there's this cyborg girl that's coming after him. She comes there, but then Superman, he gets healed up by the robots, get his messages from they play a message from his parents, which suits him about Krypton, and then him coming there and his journey and what his point or purpose was to come there, and the point of him being there. And it was all this heroic stuff saying you're supposed to help these people out, you're supposed to be great, you're supposed to be a great example, which he loves hearing that. And that's what really motivated him to being such a good guy and a hero. That and his upbringing through his parents, obviously. So he had that, and that was a very important part of the story, which I will also get into, which I thought was pretty interesting. But then he gets healthy and he goes back to fight, and he was fighting against this guy in this big armored suit that was stating that he was from this fake country. I forgot what the name of the country was, but it was like some pseudo ass country that's supposed to be, a representation of Israel, and the leader was supposed to be Israeli representation, but it did seem more Russian. But I guess that was just to ease off the attention off that, so they're not as blatantly obvious at what they were trying to portray. Um, so yeah, he goes there, and the cyber girl is coming there. She's trying to get into the Fortress of Solitude because she's trying to get how he opens it and creates it and stuff like that. So Lex can get in and basically do whatever he can in there, right? But she's too late, and Crypto comes and attacks her. So she doesn't get the stuff, but she leaves. But Lex is, it's okay. I got what I needed. And then Superman comes there. He's fighting against this guy, and this guy's battling back and forth, and he's able to counter him because of Lex. Lex is pretty much giving him moves and strategies because he's fought him multiple times and knows all his moves, and he's beating up Superman. And the fight is happening. They go down, and Superman gets knocked down. And there's this like Muslim guy. He comes up to him and is like, "Hey, Superman, we're going to help you out." I can't do the accent, but he's like trying to do he's doing Indian accent. He's like, "Superman, we will help you out. Come on, man, get up now. We are here for you." Boopity boopity. Sorry, I had to be stupid there for a bit. But yeah, he helped him out, and he was like, part of the story too, and showcasing that the connection that Superman has with the community and the love and respect he has. So he goes back, and by the time it comes, the guy leaves. So they left to get some information on the Fortress of Solitude so they can break into there, which they do at some point. Also, there's the whole, and like I said, I'm not gonna go through explaining everything in the story because I don't want to overdo it. But the certain parts I do want to talk about, like Lois and Superman's whole dialogue that they had, and a lot of people giving this version of Superman shit for getting emotional and getting angry and getting aggressive. And it's like, you guys don't know shit about actual comic book Superman. Anytime Superman is dealing with, like, for example, Lex Luthor, every time he's dealing with Lex Luthor, he's usually the most intense at those moments and he's losing his shit. He's not calm. Like when Lex Luthor was trying to run for president and he's like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? Why are you voting for him as president? He should be in jail. Why are you guys even letting him out? And they're like, hey, he's changed, okay? He's different. He was crashing out in the comics and in Justice League TV show. He was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you guys?" And he was going crazy, and they're all like, Clark, you're overreacting. Come on, guy." And I was like, dude, he was literally a supervillain trying to kill him multiple times, and he's a racist. Like, what do you expect? Like, obviously he's gonna have problems with them, but Superman has acted that way, especially when it comes to saving lives. And if he's getting criticized for trying to save lives, he's gonna act that way. He did, I will say it is, for argument of sake, you could say that, yeah, he was acting a little bit more emotional, but to act as if Superman doesn't act that way at all is ridiculous. Superman's not a stoic guy. He's not fucking Batman, okay? He's not this brooding stoic dude. He's a guy that upholds a little bit of more stoicism and has this, demeanor of, I can accomplish this and confidence, but he also does act like a regular person. That's the whole point of him. Batman is supposed to be this emotionless, stoic guy who doesn't let things affect him or shows that it doesn't let things affect him. Whereas Superman is supposed to be a regular ass human. He's supposed to get angry. He's supposed to be happy. He's supposed to be, more loving. He's supposed to be more goofy and stuff. Not overly goofy, but more goofy compared to like Batman. He's supposed to be having more human like traits. And the fact that you guys hate that he's showing emotions, just showcases that you don't understand Superman. Superman's never been that way. He's been considered a Boy Scout. He's more lighthearted and soft and playful. He's more like gentle and he's more, he has the aggressive side and he has the more soft, calm side. There's fluctuations. He's like a regular person. If he was completely one way, then he wouldn't be like a regular person. So you guys don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, he had that, and he was talking about the war, like one country trying to attack the other country, which we didn't see. I thought I missed something because I did come a little bit late to the movie, so I was like, did I miss something? But apparently, no. That's just how it is. It just, there's something off screen that happened where one of the guys tried to attack the other country, stating that, hey, they're being tyrannical and oppressing their people. I'm just trying to liberate the people. That's why I'm coming in there. And Superman's like, no, you're not doing that. You're just trying to attack them. And he threatened him. And Lois Lane's like, you can't threaten him and stuff like that. And he's like, but you was doing this and he's lying. She's like, well, they do have a bad dictatorship there. And then he's like, yeah, that doesn't change anything. That's not what he's truly meant. And then he was trying to point out, and she was like, yeah, I know, but like, I can't say one way or the other. But she was kinda getting on his ass. So I was like, "Damn, she's kinda being a bitch to him." And so she has her journey and stuff like that. Also at some point, Superman, um, as Lex Luthor breaks into this Fortress of Solitude to extract some information, he extracts the message that uh, Clark heard from his parents, but the message he stated wasn't fully because it got damaged. So he only heard the first part of it, which was all positive, but the rest of it was not leaked out until Lex and his cyborg girl went in there to basically extract that information, and also the guy who's considered Ultraman. If you know in the comics, he's in another reality version of Superman where that universe they're all evil. So he's an evil version of Superman. But in this story, he is kind of like that, but a little bit different. But they went in there, Crypto's attacking them, and Crypto has a big story of him being like untrained. But the cyborg girl is able to stop him by getting her nanites around his face and stopping him, and they take him in, which is also an important part. But they extract the information. They distract Superman with fighting against this big kaiju creature, which him, Mr. Terrific, Hawkgirl, and Guy Gardner's Green Lantern are also all fighting against it. But as this is happening, he leaks out the message, the full message as is properly translated, and we find out that his parents are actually not sending him there for a positive reason. They send him there so he can conquer it and take over and have many wives. And they talked about having a whole concubine and secret concubine. And they were the funny thing was in the story they were more focused on the secret concubine than him conquering and ruling over the earth and the people being weak. And that was the message. They were more focused on that. Even Guy Gardner confronted him. He's like, "You have a secret concubine?" He's like, "No." He's like, "What are you talking about? I will have Lois Lane." So there was that, but this was a great thing because this showed Superman. He got his upbringing from both his parents, but now he finds that his other parents, his legit biological parents, were evil and sending him there on like kind of an evil mission, and he doesn't agree with it. And now he's just like he's like, "What am I truly? I always wanted to be. I've been here to be a hero and a good guy and a better example, but now my parents, my legit parents, are trying to make me do some horrible shit." And he didn't know. And now the public opinion goes from we love Superman to we're against him. They even throw shit at him. And he what's the thing called? The rest of the Justice Gang, as they call it, is just, three other guys. So it's like, it's just Mr. Terrific, Green Lantern, and it's not even a good Green Lantern, and then Hawk Girl. So it's like they're not really a team. And as he does this, he's like, he's considered a criminal for what he did in the other place. So he just gives himself in. As he turns himself in, they take him in. And there's this whole portal by this pocket dimension where they throw Superman in that pocket dimension and is a prison for other people that are criminals in other countries that are working with Lex. And on top of it, people that Lex just has a problem with, like his ex-girlfriend who started talking shit about him. So he put her there, just showing how fucked up he is and petty he is. And then he had Mephisto in there, and Mephisto, Metamorpho, not Mephisto. Mephisto is a different character. Metamorpho, who has the ability to transmute his body into any different material. So he turns his hand into kryptonite to weaken Superman. And he's doing this because Lex took his son. He has a baby and he took him hostage. So he has no other choice but to do this against him. Um, but yeah, they have the rest of the gang, the Justice Gang. They don't want to go help save him because Lois Lane is trying to get them on her side. They don't want to save him unless, except for Mister Terrific, which he goes. But he's like, I don't want to get into it too much, but I'll help you out just to check it out, right? They go to check it out. They find out the pocket dimension. They find out Lex is doing some shady shit. So they know that maybe I have to do a little bit more work. But there's stuff they can't do anything. And Superman is able to break out by convincing Metamorpho, because what happened was they brought that Muslim guy, the halal street food vendor who supported him, and they brought him up there, and Lex put a gun to his head and he's threatening to shoot him. And he's like, "I don't tell Mr. Don't tell your secrets, Mr. Superman. Please don't do it, Mr. Superman." And then Superman's like, "I can't let him. He's gonna kill you." He's like, "So don't do it, Superman. Don't do it." But he's asking him like personal stuff, like about his parents and all this stuff, and he can't do it. So he shoots the guy in the head, and this gets Metamorpho to cry. And as he's crying, he's like, I can't do this. This is messed up." So he helps out Superman. Superman breaks out, and saves his son. As he saves his son, they basically are trying now to escape the pocket dimension because there's a whole collapse thing on it. So as this is happening, now Superman wants to go and save the people of the other country because now what was happening was Lex Luthor was trading billions of dollars worth of weapons to the to the other people, the pseudo Israel. He was giving it to them, and as he was giving to them, they were like, "Wait, why would he give billions of dollars?" Of weapons, and people are like, well, he was getting paid billions of dollars back, but apparently he only got paid back $1 billion, so he was losing $7 billion. So they're like, why would he do this? Apparently, the reason he was doing this was so if he made the deal with them, the deal was, I'll give you billions of dollars worth of weapons, and you don't have to pay me back fully. But when you do take over the other nation, you have to give me half of it so I can rule it as the ruler. And he was like, okay. So he's been trying to be a king of this, which was supposed to be this mega kingdom of science and tech that he was going to rule over and be the governor of that place, or president of that place. I mean, so yeah, that was the whole plot, and point of that whole situation right there, and why he was doing all that. And this was also to get back at Superman, and leaking out the message was so he could kill Superman. But Superman got out of the dimension, and then he had to recuperate. And this is where he has his talk with his dad, and he's like, "Man," he's talking to his dad. He's like, "Everything was a lie. I was here to conquer and stuff like that." He was like disheartened by it, and his dad's like, "It's not about it's not about who what you were here for. It's about who you became, and not about what your parents want you to be. Because parents always want their kids to be one way, but that's their own journey, and they have the right to be this way, and that's their life, and they have the right. Which this motivated him to, um get over his whole parent stuff, because yeah, it is a gut shot to find out your parents are, you thought they were trying to give you positive things to do and be a good person, but then you just find out that they're actually kind of low-key a little bit evil, so or completely evil. So he didn't like that. But getting that talk from his adoptive father and showcasing to him is not about how you were born, it's about how you were raised. And this gave him enough motivation to fight. So there's two situations happening. There's one with the war with the other country attacking the other country, and then there is Lex Luthor, who was pissed off that Superman was getting out. So he was messing with the pocket dimension in the state of, you leak out the pocket dimension or hold it open for too long, um, it will cause effects to the planet and stuff, and maybe the universe. And he didn't care. So what happened was, Mr. Terrific, when him and Lois Lane were waiting for Superman to come by, the portal was getting destabilized and it was crushing and it got destroyed. And when it got destroyed, you're supposed to just leave it, but he wouldn't leave it and he reopened it, which was breaking through the planet, and it was going to attack Metropolis. And he didn't care because he wanted to take down Superman. So now Superman has to choose to save Metropolis or save these guys in a war. He obviously chose Metropolis because it's not going to only tear apart Metropolis, but if it goes too far, this dimensional tear, it will destroy the entire planet and most likely the whole universe. So that's a far bigger threat. So he went to go there to stop that and attack Lex Luthor, and the Justice League guys basically went to stop the war. So they're taking them out to stop the war. Hawkgirl actually does one thing, which I think this pissed off a lot of people, where she picked up the leader, who's supposed to be, he's supposed to be Netanyahu. He's supposed to be a version of him or symbolize him, right? She lifts him up, and then he's like, "You can't drop me. You can't kill me. I am, you are a superhero. You're like Superman. You can't do this to me." And she's like, "Well, I'm not Superman. I do whatever I want. Bitch, I don't give a fuck. I do whatever I want." So she let him go and dropped him and killed him, which pissed a lot of people off. And then other people tried to deny, saying, "No, no, no, this is not a, uh, this is not a, what's the thing called? This is not an allegory for, you know, Israel, what they're doing to Palestine. This is just, it's its own thing. It has nothing to do with that." And I'm just like, come on, man. James Gunn, if he's going to be talking about politics shit, like talking about him being an immigrant, pissing you guys off, he's obviously going to be talking about that. Like, the parallels are right there directly, so don't be stupid. But they also say they don't believe that, but then they're also mad at the movie and say this movie is complete trash. Which is like, no, you do know that's the case. You don't want to accept it because your butt hurt, and then you also want to shit on it and act like that isn't the reason why you're mad. Because and this is important because of people acknowledge that usually the Zionists, like you see people like, some of you guys might not have heard of this guy, but named Ben Shapiro. He's a little bitch, but this little bitch boy, he basically he's a Zionist. He's a little he's a punk ass kike. I know I probably shouldn't be saying that word, but he's a kike. He's a sellout. He's an ass kissing Jew, and he gets butthurt anything you say anything negative about Israel. So he was butthurt about that, and he knew that that's what they were trying to portray. But to hide that, what he tried to do was like saying, "No, no, no, this is actually not about Palestine. Okay, it's not about Palestine and Israel. It's its own thing." But so when I'm hating on this, it's just because the movie was bad. It was not because of that. Because everybody knows that he gets butthurt over that reasoning. And the fact that they'll be shitting on that, like Israel and Netanyahu, would piss him off. So he would have more reason to hate the movie just for that, for a political reason, like I said. Um, but if you're acting as if that wasn't a political thing, or wasn't, that wasn't what it was supposed to represent, then he can easily say, "Well, I'm not hating the movie because of that. I'm hating the movie because it's just bad." When in reality, it's no, the movie wasn't bad and it wasn't horrible to you. It was just that they did that and that butt hurt you, and you're a fucking Zionist bitch. So that's why. Um, so that's the whole reason for that. But that was what it was representing, and then they go and they stop it, and then Superman goes to stop the other thing, and he has to fight against Ultraman, which he does end up beating by throwing him to a little black hole in the pocket dimension. And he was just a clone of Superman, and they try to get the robot girl to suffocate him while fighting, but he took them both out. And he uses intelligence because Lex was bragging about, "You have Bronoli and I have intelligence," and he's like, "Well, I'm gonna beat them with intelligence because Superman's not just some idiot. He's also pretty smart. It's just that Lex Luthor is way smarter, but when you have that power and that level of intelligence, you're not gonna really win with just intelligence alone. But yeah, he overpowered them, got rid of him, got him killed. And then he goes after Lex. He breaks in there. He's just threatening him. He's mad at him. And this is when Crypto comes in. And Crypto basically is the one who beats up Lex Luthor. Superman doesn't. Superman just gets mad at him and they're having an argument. And Crypto comes in, drags him by his arm, slams him onto the ground, smacking him everywhere. I was dying laughing. He was beating the living shit out of him. He was bleeding. And I loved it because Lex Luthor is such an asshole in this movie. They did so great with him because that's the whole point. He's supposed to be petty. He's supposed to be a bitch. He's supposed to be an asshole. He's supposed to be something that you hate and wants to get their ass beat. And he got his ass completely beat and he got fucked up. He got, was like, stop your dog. What is wrong with him? And he got fucked up by Crypto. So Superman didn't even do the job. So yeah, he got beaten and then he got exposed his plans with all that stuff. The other nation got stopped and he got exposed and now he's going to prison and he lost all the love and respect and people are going back to loving Superman because they realize that even though that's what his parents wanted, that's clearly not who he is as a person and he's overcome that, which is a great message. And there's a and then they go to the ending where they show Supergirl who's like she was off on another planet, a red sun planet, where she could just get drunk because she's a party girl and I don't like the way they did it. Like Supergirl's never been like that. She's been obviously more like since she is older technically, but a black hole that the wormhole they came in through did some time dilation bullshit kept her young. So she's more like a young like teenager or 20-year-old. So she's more like I guess playful, but she's never been like a drunk party girl like that. So I just don't like the portrayal of her in that. But yeah, that was just it for the setup for that. I wouldn't wait for the end credits because all the end credit is just Superman sitting on the moon, hugging Crypto, watching the Earth. So if you care about that, I guess. But for me personally, it didn't really set up to anything, and it wasn't really significant. So I didn't really care to watch that part. Um, so yeah, that was pretty much the Superman movie. As a whole, that was a setup. I felt like it was a little bit convoluted in some areas. The humor was good, but it wasn't overly funny to me. Um, I felt like there could have been more action scenes, a lot more fighting. Ultraman, the way they handled him was a little weird. I would have preferred him from another reality, anyway. Also, the Justice League being so small, it's kind of weird. I feel like they didn't need to introduce the Justice League. They could have made them their own thing in a separate movie. A lot of people say they like Mr. Terrific, but for me personally, the only reason I think that Mr. Terrific got so much, credit and so much love is due to the fact that he was mostly in the movie compared to the other Justice guys. When you go to Guy Gardner, he was in there for like not that long. He was only there a little bit, but he was pretty funny. And Hot Girl, they didn't show that much about her either. So obviously he's gonna get a lot of attention because he's the only other person getting quite a bit of attention there. And he had decent amount of time, just as much as Superman did. So it makes sense for me personally. He didn't really like make me like, oh my god, he's amazing. I thought he was decent as a character, as a whole. The movie was pretty decent. Don't listen to the political stuff. If you guys are gonna like it if you ignore all the politics shit. Some people just want to make it political. Personally, I didn't mind the politics. Like Superman, yes, he is an immigrant. He's an illegal immigrant. Don't get butthurt about it. If you're gonna be a little bitch about it, just know you're stupid. Like the Fox News getting butthurt saying like the shit about why do they have to always shove messages in our faces? And I agree, but it's kind of ironic coming from Fox when they're supposed to be reporting the news to us. They're only supposed to be telling us the news, but then they give us their opinion and their politics bias and all that shit. It's like, why don't you shut the fuck up about your opinion and your politics and shove that up your ass and just report the news to us? Stop lying, stop manipulating, stop giving your conservative politics, stop giving your views, stop ass kissing your side. Maybe just be legit and actually give us the information. So it's ironic that they're shitting on movies and shows shoving politics in our face, but they 24/7 shove politics in our face. And they're only supposed to be reporting the news, not choosing sides and ass kissing. So yeah, if anybody should be talking, it's definitely not them. They should shut the fuck up and mind their own business. This is one thing that pisses me off about a lot of media is they want to critique other people, but they don't want to be critiqued. So for any like media, where it's Fox or whatever, shut the fuck up. Just report the news. Keep your bullshit opinions and your political beliefs to yourself. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody gives a shit about what you have to say about Trump or against Trump. You can suck your own dicks. Fuck off. It really pisses me off when I hear that shit. So Yeah, I know I went a little bit off on a rant there, but I just hate when they say that. It's like movies and TV shows are meant to have messages in there, whether it's political or whatever. That's the point of movies and TV shows. They're art, right? When you have art, you're supposed to be, you're able to construct it however you want and give your message or your belief and stuff like that. That's the whole point of art. When it comes to music, when it comes to movies, when it comes to video games, when it comes to TV, those are all forms of art and it's how you interpret things. So if you're making art, like a movie or show, you have the right to put whatever message or theme or belief or a political view in that. You don't have to like it, but that's the whole point of art. Now, when it comes to something like media, we're supposed to giving us news and coverage and the truth, you have no right to do that. You can't give us your political messaging. You can't give us your opinion. We're not here for your emotions. We're not here for you as a person. We don't give a shit about you as a person. We're here for the news. We want to know legit what's happening in the world and the reality of things in a proper factual manner. We don't want you to augment or manipulate these fucking facts just so it can fit your bullshit narrative. I don't give a fuck, okay? This is the problem with a lot of people have with mainstream media is they keep on focusing on this shit and putting their own political views. You have MSNBC, CNN putting their own like overly liberal shit, which they say they're progressive, but they're not. But they're just like regular liberals. And then you have the fucking Fox News where they're going hardcore conservative, ass kissing, and it's like we know you guys hate on certain things. You hear something like immigrant, you get butt hurt, and you got a stick up your ass. So we don't want to hear it from you. But then with the whole Palestine and Israel thing, I do support Palestine over Israel. I do not like Israel. I don't know how anybody can support them. I am anti-Zionist. So for me, I like the message. So yeah, I guess maybe that could be playing my bias. So I did like the message. I like the fact that Hawk Girl basically had Netanyahu that she was holding up and threw him down and killed him. I thought that was pretty funny. Because I hate Zionists. I hate the government of Israel, not the people of Israel. Unless they support the government, then fuck you. But yeah, I don't like that. So I was happy that they did that. I think that's a good message because it is true. They are doing that. They are making excuses for genocide. And m- most people now see that. And even the biggest conservatives and Trump supporters are like, nah, nah, I ain't fucking with that shit. So yeah, so I thought that message was fine. I didn't have a problem with that. Now, one thing I do want to talk about that was very important was Superman's parents and finding out that his parents were, not legit good people. Sometimes this happens. Sometimes we think our parents are great and amazing, and then we see more about them or find out more about them. We find out they're kind of not as great as we thought they were. But this also reminded me of Goku. I was like, this is ripping off Dragon Ball, which is funny because the Dragon Ball's original story with Goku come to Earth was not ripping off Superman. People could say that whatever. Superman took that off of John Carpenter, which it was the opposite of going from another planet to Earth. It was going from Earth to Mars. But whatever. That is not something that is uniquely common to just Superman. It is its own thing. But then Toriyama later on made Dragon Ball, minus, and then he basically copied Superman's story. But now Superman's story is copying the Dragon Ball story because Superman's story, the reason why he came to Earth was because his parents were trying to save him from a dying planet and they wanted better for him and they wanted him to be a hope and, brighter future for this world. Whereas in Dragon Ball, he was just sent there. They didn't know the planet's going to get destroyed, but they just sent him there just to conquer and destroy. Which now this is what Superman's story was supposed to be. But just like Goku, he went against that whole narrative, though he didn't need to bump his head. But it pretty much reminded me of Goku, right? He was sent there to destroy the planet and conquer and do whatever and do all these heinous things. But he went against it because of how he was raised. Same with Superman. And both him and Superman's journey, they found out later on in life. Goku found out when he was like somewhere in his 20s, and Superman, this one's like probably in his 20s or 30s. So they both found out later in their life that actually they're not well, Superman knew he was from another planet, whereas Goku didn't. So that's a little bit different. But they found out their actual parents are not that good people, and then they had to face that reality. The difference, though, is it was a lot harder for Superman because he already knew he was from another planet, and he got this message fed to him throughout his life. So this was like a positive thing that reaffirmed him to do what he was doing. So it means more to him because he already knew that stuff, he already got that, and it's harder for him to deal with. Whereas Goku, when the moment he found out what his race was and what his people did, it was when he found out that he was an alien. Because before that, he just thought he was a human. So he got kind of like he didn't get any time to really think of it. But when Goku already heard it, he automatically dispelled his race. He said, I don't like these people. These people are horrible. I don't want to be associated with the Saiyan. He did have a journey though with accepting him being a Saiyan, whereas Superman had a journey of accepting who his parents were and that he isn't like that. He never went against being a Kryptonian. He was always a Kryptonian. He was proud of that. That didn't change his view on being a Kryptonian. It did change his view on his parents and his meaning and what he's meant to do there. Whereas Goku's one was it changed his opinion on who he is. He's like, I'm not human. I'm a Saiyan, but Saiyans are horrible people. How can I be a part of that race? How can I be attached to something so vile when I don't like that shit? And he tried to detach himself from them, saying, I don't care about them at all. But then his journey throughout, fighting as Frieza, saying he is a Saiyan. He's like, I might have been from another planet, but I was raised on Earth, and I'm a human. In the heart, even though biologically I'm a Saiyan. And then later on in his journey, he accepted more fully that, yeah, I'm a Saiyan and I have pride in that, just like Vegeta. I don't have a problem with it. I just don't have that much of a connection. But he did say one thing that was very interesting that Goku said that reminds me of Superman in this. When he was fighting against Frieza and Frieza was giving him shit saying, you're judging me and saying I'm a horrible person for doing all these horrible things, killing people and conquering planets. He's like, but what about your race? Your race was more which this was a lie. He said your race was more fucked up than me, which it was not. He's like they were more vindictive and they were more violent and crazy. And then his response was, which was pretty interesting to me, was Goku turned around and said, "Well, he's like, yeah, well, that's why they got what they deserve and they got punished. They got punished for their actions and being bad, and they got what they deserve. Now you need to suffer the same fate." So Goku acknowledged that yes, his people were bad. He was not denying that. Uh, what he did realize though was yes, they did do bad stuff, but in the end of the day, because of those bad things, it ended up hurting them and killing them. And he's like, it doesn't matter. I'm not here to try to argue my people are right. I'm trying to show you that I don't care about that. They got punished for that, and them acting this way was an example of what they deserved. So they harmed other people and conquered their planets and destroyed people. Then they got conquered, got hurt, and they got destroyed. That's why I'm going this path. Even if I'm saying I'm not trying to go that path because I acknowledge what where it lies, the destruction that it lies, and the negative outcome from that. And I'm choosing to be my own person, even though this isn't the race I'm attached to. I'm not denying my reality and my existence, but I'm actually accepting it and I'm moving on. So he accepted the bad things that his people did, but he's saying that's not me. I'm better. I'm moving to a more positive way, and they died because of that. Superman kind of was having that journey too with his dad, with Pa Kent, where he was like, "Hey, look, you've done good things. This is who you are. This is who you are deep in your heart. You are still, their son, but that doesn't mean you are exactly the person that they want you to be. You're your own man. You're your own person. You can accept who they are and still say, I'm not going to do that, and I'm going to move on forward, and just not let that affect me." Same thing with Goku. He acknowledged his race is horrible. The only difference here was Superman had to acknowledge his parents were horrible and come to terms with that and move on forward, whereas Goku had to acknowledge that his entire race and his entire species and people are evil, and because of that, they got punished. And he doesn't wanna be like them. He's his own person. He doesn't need to go that path, and he sees the destruction that it causes. So they both had to come to that conclusion and move on forward, and I thought it was great. But also, I'm just like, "Damn," because this has never been how it has been with Superman's parents. His actual, biological parents and his adoptive parents have both been good. So now that they're evil, his biological parents, it's kinda like, I kinda like it, but I also don't like it that they made them evil because it's like it kind of sucks for him. Also later on, the end of the movie, just like in the beginning, where the robots were carrying him and showing him messages of his, parents. They're like he loves seeing his parents in the message of that. This time when he's seeing the message, it's not of his biological parents. It's the message of his adoptive parents and all the moments he had showcasing that he is above that, which I thought that was a pretty great I thought that was a great theme and story. So that part I really loved. As a whole, the movie I thought was okay. I do love the themes and the messages they had, but as an entertainment value for like fights and story and stuff like that, it wasn't as entertaining. But I am hopeful for the future of the DCU. I'm hopeful for what they're going to do with the rest of the characters and Superman and Lex and these characters in the future and the rest of the story. I just don't think this one was that great. But hopefully they can improve. It's better to have something that's mid than something that's terrible because at least you can work off of this. Whereas the other one, it's like, there's nothing really to legit work off of. It's kind of pretty bad. But yeah, I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was good. And once again, fuck the politics. Get rid of that. Just look at it as a movie. Is it good? Is it entertaining? Does it have good themes? Is it have positive message? Is it enjoyable? That's what really matters. In the end of the day, it doesn't matter about the politics stuff. You can still talk about it, but don't let that, you know, skew your opinion so much that you go from hating a good movie. I'm not saying this movie's a really great movie, but there's movies out there that are really great, but people hate on it just because they don't like the political messaging that they had. So I just feel like you should put your biases aside when it comes to critiquing movies and shit. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for next time.